We were welcomed into the Josiah Keith House for a night of investigation. Established in 1717, the home has a long and rich history. We sat down with the owner and proprietor to learn more about the house and its background throughout the years. We are sitting here tonight with Justin, proprietor and owner of the Josiah Keith House. Thank you for talking with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting us in. So the inn was built in 1717 and it is the second oldest inn in the United States. Can you give us a little background?
Sure. Josiah Keith built this house. Josiah Keith is the eldest son of the first Reverend of Bridgewater, James Keith. He was controlling his father's cattle business and kind of got fed up of moving his father's cattle from between Bridgewater and Easton. And in 1707, he came here and built my corn crib outside, which is the oldest corn crib in the country. He then built a lumber mill and eventually built his house with the lumber from his own mill in 1717. He likely, from the moment the house was built, kept it open as an inn, as Easton was the frontier at that time, and getting from Easton, which was part of Norton, it wasn't even called Easton yet. We were still in Norton, or I'm sorry, it was actually not even Norton. It was Taunton. We were still part of Taunton. This is part of the Taunton North Purchase.
So this would be the old Taunton Turnpike.
Yes.
138.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you could imagine trying to get on a horse and cart from Taunton to here, dangerous. So whole stations of inns were aligned on the old post road, and took care of people passing by because you didn't know if you were on a trip so hopefully someone would do the same thing for you.
And I think a lot of people drive by in this area probably hundreds of times a year, and they don't understand the history that surrounds the area. If you could give us maybe just a little background of some people that have stayed here.
Sure. So we definitely know that the Continental Army marched up Bay Road before or during the Revolution. We know that Washington stayed at the Williams House next door. So we can also assume that his chiefs of staff stayed here.
The area that this inn resides in, a lot of people, I guess, coincide this with the Bridgewater Triangle. But this house itself has its own kind of dark history in a sense.
It does. This house has its own, not necessarily dark. Well, yeah, it's a little dark. It has a very long storied history. Mm-hmm. The land that we're on was King Philip's summer hunting grounds. Mm-hmm. But even prior to that, people have lived on this area for at least 10,000 years plus. And there's megalithic sites in my literal backyard. Half a mile down the street, we have King Philip's Cave. Yeah. And all of the Native Americans that lived here, even they knew that this was a weird place.
Mm-hmm. This land has seen some war, is what you're saying.
It's seen war. It's most likely because the amount of resources here. There's lumber, there's game, there's fish. Everything that you could possibly want for survival is here. And you're at the crossroads.
Exactly. Can you tell us maybe a little bit about the past owner, Josiah Keith himself?
So there's 3 Josiah Keiths. Josiah Keith, who I was telling you about before, he built the house in 1717. He had 600 head of cattle. He had his sawmill. He lived to pretty much 79 years of age, which for the 18th century is pretty good.
Yeah, that's like 150 in
Yeah.
nowadays.
His eldest son, Josiah Keith II, fought in the French and Indian War in New York. He had to petition the state to actually get payment for his service. He then built a tavern where the mobile station sits at the Five Corners in Easton. He only lived until 50, so he died in about 1765, I believe. And he then passed everything to his eldest son, Josiah Keith III, who inherited this house, continued on the other businesses, the family businesses, continued on with the tavern, but he was alive at a tumultuous time. He is in the Easton Militia. His neighbor, being John Williams, sees his service and promotes him to captain. He is sent to New York for a period of 9 months by John Hancock. And John Hancock almost certainly knew who he was due to the fact that the Keith family had a large amount of cattle. And if you're going to ship cattle all over the world, well, Hancock was the man to go to. So even if they didn't know each other personally, they knew of each other, almost certainly.
They knew their family name.
Yeah, they knew their family name, which is kind of crazy that someone who's lived in this house has seen every major event. Going back to Josiah Keith I, James Keith, when he arrived here from Scotland, he fell under the direct tutelage of Increase Mather, Cotton Mather's father, who was involved in the Salem witch trials. So as a young man, Josiah Keith I most likely went up to Salem and witnessed firsthand with his father the events of the Salem witch trials.
And that would be the Reverend James Keith.
Reverend James Keith.
Okay, yep.
And the reason why we can say that is Bridgewater was the only town that in Massachusetts, or the Massachusetts Bay Colony, that didn't have any witch accusations. So he nipped it in the bud real quick.
I know there have been some possible incidents in the house surrounding Josiah Keith III and possibly in the manner that he passed.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of background before that. Josiah Keith being a rather decorated veteran of the Revolutionary War. He had a freed black man in his unit. He also was involved through the Williams family in the freeing of the last slave woman in Easton. He actually ends up paying Catherine, who is the last slave in Easton, to live the remainder of her life, which is rather unheard of. And it kind of comes from his Puritan morals.
Yeah, not something to be done in that time.
No. But unfortunately, the townspeople did not like him very much because of that. He ends up owing a lot of people money. He takes out a lot of loans. And part of that is also he is a public figure, seen as respectable, one of the elders of Easton. And the newly formed American government is not paying its soldiers.
Yeah.
So he takes out loans to pay his family members and friends who fought with him. And they never pay him back, unfortunately. He's in severe debt. One of his 4 wives, his third father-in-law, pulls a business loan that he was involved in the production of cannons during the Revolution, and it puts him even further into debt. So by the time he's in his late 70s, in the 1820s, he's losing everything, and he had lost favor with the town and the townsfolk, and no one's paying him his money back, and he loses all of his cattle, he loses a lot of his livestock, he loses the lumber mill, and he ends up shooting himself in the head.
And he gives up.
He gives up.
Yeah. And that, do you know through your research if that was in the house?
I'm pretty sure it was in my bedroom.
Ooh, okay.
His bedroom.
His bedroom, yeah. Do you think, and I know now that brings me to my next, you've had some activity that you associate with Josiah, you believe?
Yeah. We've had a few things happen. Some of the things Harry Green got on camera, he got a hat flying off one of the chairs. I have footsteps all the time. One of the most recent ones, me and my girlfriend were sitting in the kitchen eating dinner, and something was running around upstairs. It's never lightly either. It's always,
Like this is still their
it's
house.
like leather shoes walking on wood floors.
And it was a daughter that passed in the house that you...
One of the Williams family's daughters, Abigail, passed away.
Was that in like the 1800s?
It was in the late
maybe?
1800s. So pretty sure there was 2 different Abigail Williams from what I've been able to research. One of them was 16. The other one was 3.
Okay.
There's carvings, or what were likely chalk drawings, on some of the panels in the kitchen of her drawing her grandfather, Mr. Ed Williams, who's we have photographs of, and he was on the bucket brigade, and the Williams family are still in Easton today.
And you don't feel any... It's not like a dark type of ominous type of thing. It's more like they appreciate that the house is still the house.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they appreciate the house as being kept in its traditional manner.
Yeah. Which might make it more comfortable for them because it is how it was when they were here.
Yeah. Well, one of the craziest things that I've had happen, and which is why it leads me to believe that they're comfortable. I had a friend who was staying with me, and she had slept in one of the rooms upstairs, and she comes down in the morning telling me that the LED candle that's battery powered, which I'd recharged the battery on it literally the night before, went completely dim in the middle of the night.
And I know there's the Century Suite. Is that
that's
the Century
Washington Suite upstairs.
The Washington Suite, okay.
Let me preface again. Sorry. When I was giving her a tour of the house, this is her first time here, the light bulb in the room exploded. She then proceeded to sleep in the night, and the light dimmed.
So she stayed in that room after the light bulb exploded?
Yeah.
Good for her.
So she comes down the next morning telling me that the light was dimming and everything. So we went up the next night, and we lit a cigarette and placed it on the edge of the table, and a glass of whiskey. We watched the cigarette smoke itself. Modern cigarettes are meant to go out. They have the fire retardant thing on them. So we watched the cigarette smoke itself and then flick itself 10 feet across the room. It was just me, her, and another friend who was living with me at the time. So, not just conjecture. It's 3 people witnessing something absolutely insane.
And do you have... and I know this is open to staying, like people can come and stay here.
Of course. And I don't advertise on the haunted aspects of this place.
Yeah. This is a historic inn.
Yeah. First and foremost, this is a historic inn. It's furnished historically. About 65% of the furniture in here is original period furniture that you can stay and sleep on, and
Yeah, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. They're going to get thrown out of bed if they stay
course.
here. But it's just kind of a little, I would say a plus that you have it restored and comfortable to the fact that prior owners, whether past or present, are still comfortable enough to show up and say hi to you while you're here.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, when I walk in the house from going out and running errands or something, I say hello to the house when I come back. because I know something's here. It's not a question of if something is here. There's something here,
Exactly.
at least in my opinion. That's not to mention all the other crazy things that happen, like UFOs over the house.
Oh, well, we can get into
And
that. I mean,
Sasquatches
hey,
as well.
well, you are, I mean, I mentioned earlier, you are in the Bridgewater Triangle. And even though the house has its own history beside that, but you are
Yeah.
where you are in the Bridgewater Triangle.
We are.
And you abut that in the back, correct?
This area is what is traditionally the Hockomock Swamp. And I know a lot of people want to say, oh, it's not part of the traditional Hockomock Swamp area. If you look at government maps, we are in the Hockomock River Basin.
My opinion on the whole Bridgewater Triangle, anyways, is
It's bigger.
it's bigger.
It's bigger.
And you cannot tell a spirit that it can't cross ley lines.
Of course.
So they're going to go where they want to go. They're going to travel where they want to travel. And the triangle is no longer a triangle.
Yeah.
It's expanding.
No, I agree. I mean, if anything, it probably goes all the way up to Salem.
It's Massachusetts as a whole is kind of, it
weird
bleeds
place.
out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a weird place.
Very weird place.
A lot of weird people.
Exactly.
That's why
So
I love it.
It's great. You can't just say, well, oh, you're not in the,
No, yeah.
no. And I know that you've had some possible, like the UFO sightings. Have you had a cryptid experience
So
in the area?
when I first moved up here,
I know we're kind of going off the house
it was
topic,
summer,
but still.
and I have a creek which the original sawmill actually sat on, and it's sandy bottom. The creek dries up in the summer, which is actually why the mill ended up not being profitable because you could only run it half of the year. So, this is my first couple of months here. I'm like, all right, let me go explore my land.
And had you heard of the...
I knew actually at this point, no, I didn't. At this point, I knew nothing about the Bridgewater Triangle. I do Uber in the slow months. And the way I learned of the Bridgewater Triangle was actually through a passenger of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of them told me, you're living in the middle of this weird place. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, it's the Puritan secretiveness that we keep here.
Yeah, very much so. So anyway, I go for a walk down my creek, and all of a sudden I see like 6 or 7 footprints that are like 17 inches in length with dermal ridges in them. I don't remember who it was, but I had someone come and take casts of the prints.
Is there anything that you think we should know before we kind of get into it?
So anytime a spirit box has been used here, the problem we have is that there's so many spirits here. Not all of them, with poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
But there are so many spirits here that trying to talk to anyone, it's just they're all trying to come through at the same time.
We're going to do a little investigation. A nice respectful investigation. You can show us the hot spots in the house.
Let's do it.
Let's go do some investigation. Justin showed us the house, mainly rooms tied to past paranormal activity. This bedroom, for example, sits directly above an old well. Water is believed to amplify paranormal energy and may explain the physical symptoms experienced by a friend who stayed here.
Yeah, he was having terrible migraines, and by the time right before he left, he didn't leave the house for 6 hours a week at most. And he left here and he got better.
Noah beforehand?
Did it?
Noah will?
Are you a Williams? Are you a Williams? Are you a Williams?
Found in the wood of the staircase are faces and numbers etched in by time. Chalk drawings from past occupants bleached into the wood.
An upstairs bedroom still shows a faint pattern etched into the wall, believed to have been left by arsenic-containing materials historically used to achieve vivid green and gold coloring.
So I'm gonna stay down here, and try and hopefully get an EVP upstairs, if they wanted to answer me, and see if there is an EVP answer upstairs. So I will be downstairs in front of this camera, and Herbie and Justin will be going upstairs. And we can see if we can do a call and response that way. What'd they say?
People.
Yes. The people are gonna go upstairs.
Yes.
And I will be down here.
All right.
So I'll give it about, when I hear you guys go upstairs, that's when I'll
Yeah,
start
when you
asking.
guys stop walking around.
Yeah. So I will be down here while they go upstairs. I know we've done this before at another location. So we're going to record while we're down here. I'm gonna put this on the ground. So the last time we did this, we were at a private location, and I had asked whoever was there if they didn't feel comfortable giving Herbie their name, that they would give him a color instead. So as you can tell, I am on the first floor by myself. We're at the Josiah Keith House. I have a doll here if anybody wants to play with that. And I have some lights here that will go off if you touch them. I can hear the boys in the background, so that might pick that up a little bit. But if you can come through on their recorders and you wanted to tell them something, you could give them a color. You could give them the word red. You could give them the word orange. I'll wait until I fully hear them go upstairs. There they go. And if there's anything you want to say while I'm down here, you're more than welcome to do that also. So I believe they made it upstairs now.
So I'm gonna assume Jess is done answering her or asking her question. So downstairs, Jess may have asked you something or instructed you to say something. So I'm just gonna ask you a question. What did that say? Dave. Okay. I was just going to ask who's in this room with us right now. And if you don't want to answer that question, you can just say whatever Jess had asked you to say to me.
So David Keith is one of Josiah Keith II, his children. So he'd be the brother of Josiah Keith III.
You're referring to David Keith? What did I say?
Thus.
Thus.
That's in 18th century parlance. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Because that was quick.
Yeah, very quick. Is that you, Melanie? That's a man's voice.
Throughout the entire investigation, and across all our recordings, we never once heard the wind chimes outside the door. It wasn't until we were packing up at the end of the night that they finally made a sound. While I was alone in the room, the wind chime suddenly began to move. Softly at first, almost as if drawing my attention to that area. It was during this moment that the EVP was captured. As they continued, I stepped away to retrieve my digital recorder. Shortly afterwards, a heavy thud was heard behind me, resembling the sound of a boot stepping into the room. The rooms felt thick with history, each holding its own stories, memories, and echoes of the past. The residence seemed almost like a labyrinth of rooms, capable of getting lost there if the house chose you to. That night at the Josiah Keith House, our findings were not ostentatious. A lot of our activity was not electronically captured, but experienced in real time, prioritizing sensory evidence over digital data. Focusing on the atmospheric spirit of the home through personal experiences, like hearing footsteps throughout the house and a sense of not being alone in the rooms we visited.
Are you the person that's walking right now? I just heard some footsteps outside the door.
The house revealed itself as more than a historical structure. It stands as a testament to those who once lived within its walls.